really want to thank everyone for all the love and support you guys, that we've received, since we got the horrible news. But we've had tremendous love and support from so many of you, and just all the people that came last night and today. It's really wonderful. So one of the things that we want to do today here, and everybody please, can keep eating and drinking, you should be able to hear, but we want anybody who would like to speak and relay some type of memory and thoughts about Matt or anything. We want to welcome anybody who would like to do that. If it's okay, I want to be the first one.
Guys, this is just recording. I'm just going to put this right here. It's recording your voices. Okay.
And
Thanks, Tim.
And I hopefully maybe set the tone, because it doesn't all, my story is, some funny moment with Matt when he was younger in the chess world. So, he ended in the poker world, but his, first passion was chess. And, we went, because since he wasn't old enough to drive, we took him to most of those things and stuff. So in the poker world, he was usually there on his own, although if you take a good look at some of the pictures, you'll see Diane and I got to Vegas last year to share with him when he won his bracelet at the WSOP tournament, which was a huge, huge accomplishment. And we are so grateful we got to share it. So, but the story I'd like to tell is, a time, honestly, I know he was in high school. I'm not sure. I think he was probably 15 maybe at the time. But, one of the tournaments that we used to go to every year was the Foxwoods tournament in Connecticut, which, if any of you have gone there, it's about a 6-hour drive. And they always ran it over Easter weekend. It always ended on Easter Sunday, so we didn't celebrate a lot of Easters with the family.
No, we were in the casino.
But this particular one, and I actually, after going to a lot of tournaments with Matt, I actually started playing again too, because it gave me something to do while I was there with him. And this particular Foxwoods tournament is probably the best tournament I ever had in my life in chess. I actually won some money, which I never did. But for those of you that don't know chess, in the tournament games, in big tournaments, each player gets 3 hours on their clock. So the games can take 6 hours. And my games usually took about an hour and a half to do. Matt's games almost always took 6 hours. And this particular one, it was the last round started at 4 o'clock on a Sunday, Easter Sunday. So obviously 6 hours was going to end at 10, and you collect your money afterwards if you're in the money for the chess tournament. So when I had actually won my game, because it was early and I actually collected my money, I went to see how Matt was doing in his game. And so he was maybe 2 hours in at that point. And when I pulled him aside at one point, I said, Matt, I have to be at work tomorrow. And you have to be at school. So, I'm fine if you think you're going to win this game, if you're going to take the whole 6 hours, as long as you win, I'm okay with that. So, and he said to me, Dad, I've got a good position. I have no idea if he has a good position. And he says, I have a good position. I feel confident, but I think it's probably going to take the whole 6 hours. And so I said, that's okay. If you win, it's worth it. We'll go home after that, you know. And he did. He played. I think he played like 5 hours and 55 minutes. And he won the game. And I said, okay, let's get your money. We got to go. And we, you know, and because Di went to a lot of them with us, but she wasn't at that one because she was home. Evan had school the next day too. So I called her and said, okay, we're on the way home. I said, I should be home around 4. If I get too tired on the way, we'll stop and we'll sleep somewhere else. And we both had enough adrenaline. We drove all the way home. Got home right around 4 in the morning. And you know, as it turns out, both Matt and I went in late to work and school the next day.
You made it eventually.
So, but we did it, and that was, you know, that's the way, you know, Matt was in his, you know, in when he was at chess, and he always the same way in poker. And his ability to focus and play for those periods of time were amazing. So that's one of my favorite recollections of him, when he told me 2 hours in that, yeah, it's probably going to take the whole 6, but I'm going to win. All right.
Well, I have a story. One of the, oh, thank you. Okay, so, you know, I think Matt was probably in the 4th grade. I don't really remember exactly. But anyways, he and his friend Aaron, they decided they wanted to go to the chess tournament at Jefferson Avenue. And it was just a small scholastic tournament. And I said, sure, you know, let's go. You can play some chess and blah, blah, blah. I had no idea. Didn't know anybody. Didn't know really much about chess. And didn't know how long it could take. So we went, and I brought a newspaper. Didn't think it would take that long. And so 3 hours later, I'm like, oh my gosh, when is this tournament going to end? I just want to get home. And I didn't know anybody. At that time, I didn't know Lori, because Lori and I became chess buddies. And because of Matt and because of Stevie, we're such close friends now, and that was another gift that the 2 boys gave us. But so we were there, and I'm thinking, oh gosh, when is this ending? And so finally it ends, and Matt was so excited. He came, he said, Mom, I won 2 games, I got 2 points. I said, that's great, Matt. Let's get home. You know, it's a Saturday, we can do some stuff. He said, no, there's trophies that are being given out. I said, you know, Matt, you did great, but you're not going to get a trophy, so why don't we just go home right now? He goes, no, I'd really like to stay. I said, okay, we'll stay. And he got a trophy. He got the what was the best new
player.
The best new player. I'm like, oh, I just, after that happened, I was like, thank God he talked me into it. And so that was the beginning of his incredible love for chess. He just never ended, that never died. I mean, we've mentioned it before, but in the things that were in his luggage were a chess book and one of his notation books. And he carried a lot of weird things around, but those were 2 of the things he did. So anyways, that's my chess story. Thank you.
For everyone else, as you come up, you also just kind of say who you are, because everybody's not going to go everybody. So, you know, and, you know, how you knew Matt. So the next guy's going, Joel Goldberg. We met freshman year in college. We've been best friends for the last 50 years.
Hey guys, a lot of you guys know me. Some of the people from chess, poker, you're among the younger ones, chess among the younger ones. If you remember me from giving the best man speech at the wedding, you're among the older ones. The good news is you have all another 10, 15 years before you're like qualified to run for president. So we're only 70, 67. We have time now. And that is not political because it's both sides. So my story has to do with when Matt was in college. And is there anybody here from the University of Buffalo? Okay. And we're the chess people. Okay. So this is a combination story. You may think Matt went to school and graduated from the University of Buffalo, but you're correct. But he didn't start there. He started with a full ride scholarship at St. John's in Queens. And Matt went to school, he was 18 when he got into college. And it was September, and he was going to be a business student, and he was going to pursue chess. Okay, sounds good to me. So he got there, and there was two things he didn't know about St. John's. Number one, no football team at that time. Number two, every kid in the school lived in the New York area and went home for the weekends. Buttoned up, tight. So we figured out, Matt, me, the parents, that he would go to the Marshall Club for a tournament. The Marshall Club is the most prestigious chess club in the world. And he was going to get invited through his chess play. Matt was already a national master. And he was going to get invited to their Friday night blitz tournament. So freshmen were not allowed to drive cars at St. John's. So of course he needed a ride. Okay, calls Joel. So I said, all right, I'll bring you. And as with Matt, we were going to be late. For sure, we're going to be late. So I said, Matt, I'll drop you off at the front door of the Marshall Club, and then I'll park. So for you chess guys, there was a retired grandmaster from Germany in that tournament. There were two IMs from Russia. There was a future grandmaster who at that time was the world junior chess champion. You may all have known him. It was Alex Lenderman. And there were a few other people, and Matt. So I dropped Matt off. I parked the car. And this is on 10th Street in Manhattan. So there's not particularly a lot of parking there. So I get in the car, and I'm hustling my fat little body. I'm going, and I'm looking to get into the door. Well, this is an invitation-only tournament. So a guy I recognized, Parsippany people, this is a guy I recognized from some of the other tournaments that Matt was in, was getting to the door at the same time. In New York circles, they called him the Iron Horse, because he used to play every tournament over and over and over again. And if you knew him, he was an international master, but he was sort of like the head of the PTA, you know, that kind of guy, the commando president, just like, and it was Jay Bonin. So if you guys know that name. So I ran into Jay Bonin as he's entering, and I looked to sneak in. There's no spectators at this stuff. This is all serious people. So he looks over to me and goes, "What are you here for?" I said, "I'm Matt Parry's driver." So he started with the hands, you know, "Matt Parry's driver. Matt Parry's driver." So they send me off to the kitchen, you know, to watch from there. Matt ended up 5-1-2 in the 8 blitz games in the 4 hours that they ended up playing. And he took a check. Well, he had to take a check. They wouldn't give him cash because he didn't have any identification. So he came with me, his personal driver. And then somebody said today that the rest is history. And I was going to use that exact thing. Because November, Matt turned 19. I'm not sure he participated in another high-end or open chess tournament after that. Because at 19, he realized that he could play casino poker in Niagara Falls. So you guys may have thought, oh, it was the Bills why he transferred to the University of Buffalo. It was the casinos why he transferred to the University of Buffalo, and the rest is history. That's my story. I have a lot more, but I'm not allowed to tell it.
Alrighty, guess I will go next. For those who don't know me, I'm Matt's younger brother. Obviously, just wanted to say a few words. Obviously, I'm devastated. I'm appreciative. I'm sad. A little angry at the world. All those things, but everyone being here makes things a little bit easier, and just being able to share my memories about Matt also. Very grateful for the time that I had with my brother. Think, it's like a strike of lightning in terms of just being the younger brother to someone that's so brilliant, and feel like there's so much in my life that I have now that I love because Matt mentioned something about it, or he showed me, a move in chess that was cool, or, whether it's a video game, a card game, a movie, TV show, or even, just with animals. Matt opened a world, and, for those who know my family, I'm always regarded as the animal guy, and I definitely am, love my cats. But that all started with, well, thank you very much, Aunt Shaz, as far as our family being blessed with our first pet Oreo. And what a lot of people either forget or don't know is that when we first started having Oreo, I think I was 4.5 or something like that, and every time she was there, I would just run up to her and try and grab her and try and hold on to her as long as possible. And that's what I thought, loving a pet was and what you were supposed to do. And it probably went on for 3 months, probably, honestly. Just with my childish persistence. And just remember one day being that Matt just kind of befuddledly, just kind of commenting to me that no, look, this is how you do it. And we just sat in a room with her and, just showed me, just slowly show them your hand and to be gentle and just to show with yourself that, just there. And, I think that Matt had a lot of other focuses that, took him away sometimes from that gentleness into a place of intensity, but he always had that there, and it was very ingrained, and you also saw it in the way that he formed bonds and really respected other people, and that was a memory that stuck with me that I think a lot of people might not have always seen with Matt, but that it always was a part of who he was and how he treated people. And so yeah, that's just what I have to say, and I thank you all for being here.
Okay.
Glenn Aparicio Parry, and don't be confused by the Aparicio Parry, because my brother Neil, he's Parry. My sister is Paricio. Aparicio Parry. It's totally confusing, but that's because my father said that that our ancestral name was Aparicio, based on that's what he used to say when Luis Aparicio was playing shortstop. Anyway, and it just sounded good to me, so I changed my middle name a little ways back. If you don't know me, I'm Neil's brother, and I'm the writer. Right now, I'm writing a book called Original Love. It's the third in a three-part series that began with Original Thinking, then Original Politics, and believe it or not, the book on politics ends with love. And that's where I've continued. And really, it occurs to me when I'm here now, original love is family. It's family. That's your original source of love. That's your original source of support. And I want to say, I am so proud of my brother Neil and Diane because they are incredible parents. Thank you for your love for all your children. Thank you for the way you support your children unconditionally. Thank you. It's very, very special. Very, very special. And I also want to apologize really to Brian and Evan, because I feel I could have been here more. I could have been here more to support this incredible family. I've been living for, I guess, over 40 years in first California, then Japan, back to California, then New Mexico. So I haven't been close by, but it's been, I was much closer to my sister's children. Jody, who's here, and I'm so glad that he's here because he's representing my sister, Linda, and she really wants to be here, but she had surgery, but she sends her love to everyone. So thank you so much, and she's here in spirit. She's here in spirit, and love has come up so many times in this last couple days, and I'm very glad to hear it. I've been blown away by the amount of love that was shared at the reception line yesterday. That was awesome. So many beautiful people from every walk of life that Matt touched, from not just chess and poker, but also baseball and school and meeting. I don't know if he's here, Igor, one of his chess, he's not here right now, but he was amazing. And I guess some of the poker, some of Matt's poker's fans are kind of stuck in Las Vegas, but I know they're here in spirit as well. I do have one story about Matt, which is a really odd one, but I think it's some people who came up to me on the reception line explained to me how this happened. They explained to me that when you're a professional poker player, it's really hard to play against amateurs because you don't know what they're going to do. They don't do the right thing. So I was actually at the poker table with Matt and this was at Neil and Diane's house, and it was getting late. The hour was late, and my wife Tomoko whispers in my ear. There she is. Yeah, and she says, "You know what? I think I want to go home." Something. I want to go back, and I said, "Okay, I'll take care of it. I'll lose very quickly." So in the first hand, I had a pair of threes or something, and I bet everything. but then everybody folded. Even Matt folded, so, and then after that, I just kept getting dealt incredibly good cards, and everybody thought I was just bluffing. So, in a freak of nature, and I'm one of the worst poker players on the planet because I can't hide my emotions very well. But actually, it's Tomoko who won that hand, I think. But I want to say, to Brian, to Evan, I want to see a lot more of you, please. Brian, I know he's only 8 hours away in Salt Lake, so I have no excuse whatsoever from New Mexico. And for everybody here, I want to thank you so much for giving so much love and support to Neil, Diane, Brian, and Evan. And please keep doing that, because when everything quiets down here, they're going to need that support. But it's beautiful how much love they have. It's really beautiful. And Matt will always be in our hearts. One thing I've learned, I hang out with Native Americans in New Mexico all the time. And they, like a lot of old cultures, very much honor ancestors. And Matt's going to be like a living ancestor. He is going to continue living in your heart. And that's a beautiful thing. And thank you so much. Give a lot of love to everybody here. Thank you. Okay, Evan, I really mean it. Thank you.
Hey everybody, my name is Justin. I was a very close friend of Matt from a very early age. I think the first time that I met Matt, I think I was like 7 or 8 years old, something like that. And we sat together on the same seat home from Dudley School. And we instantly hated each other. It was not like love at first sight. Like, I don't know what happened. Somebody stepped on someone else's foot or something, but like, we were at each other's throats. And I remember watching Matt like walking into his house in County Clare, and his mom giving him a hug, and I just hated him. I don't know why. But the next time that I hung out with Matt or saw Matt, I was playing, I think, kickball in my backyard, and Matt had, I think, family friends next door to me, and he saw us playing kickball, and he decided he was just going to come over and play with us. So he just walked up to me and my group of friends, and was like, "Hey, can I play?" And we said, "Yeah, of course." So we played kickball that day, and I guess like instantly, as kids sometimes do, like the animosity just like drained out of us, and I do remember later that day, he stayed a little bit later than everyone else, and we went inside, and I played him for the first, and I think last time in chess. Because I realized I'm just never going to beat this person in chess. So we had to find, we became very close friends with him after that, and we had to find other games to play Matt in. So I played Matt in so many games. We played video games, we played Super Smash Brothers, Heroes of Might and Magic 3, Ogre Battle 64. We played volleyball. We had a group playing dodgeball all the time. And Matt was affectionately, we had a uniform that Matt was affectionately known for wearing to dodgeball every time. We called it the Parry. It was him wearing a polo and gym shorts. And this was unique to him, and sometimes we would wear this to mock and also honor him. And yeah, Matt just had a love for all sorts of games. It didn't matter like what we were playing. Like we would play like Boulder Dash, which is like a party game where you're supposed to like bluff to people. And it's like, it's supposed to be a game that's not taken seriously at all, right? But Matt would he would take it to the next level. Like, he would try and get in our heads and be like, is this person like what level are they on bluffing about this card, right? He loved games so much, and he was so passionate about all of them. And I shared that love, and it was really beautiful to be able to connect with him in that way. The one other story I wanted to share was where this picture was taken here was I was lucky enough, I think it was 2016, to go with Matt alone, just us, after college, a couple years after college, to Japan, and we were in Tokyo, and then Kyoto and Osaka, and there was, our whole childhood we were influenced by like Dragon Ball Z and Pokemon and all sorts of Japanese culture and sushi, of course. We both had an absolute love for sushi. Any of you that knew Matt knew that he was an absolute seafood addict, and that he would, that was one of his major passions. So when we went to Japan, we ate like the best sushi you've ever seen in your life, like early in the morning, going out to the seafood market and going amongst the stalls and like picking out this fresh sushi. It was a dream for both of us. And then, we also went out at night and partied with the Japanese. And there's this one night that I was tired. Matt was, if anyone knew him, he was the life of the party, and he could go longer than most of us could. And I'm like, man, I'm tired. I'm just gonna go and rest. And he's like, no, I gotta keep going. I gotta meet some of the cute Japanese girls. So I'm like, all right, Matt, you go do your thing. And so later that night, I was trying to sleep, and I got woken up by Matt coming back very late, and he was like moaning and crying, and I'm like, Matt, I'm just like trying to go to sleep here, man. And so I wake up in the morning, and his face is like, I look at him, and his face is like covered in gauze or something. Like I think he took a trip like during the night. He's like, yeah, I fell, man. I'm like, dude, like what happened? And he's like, yeah, I fell and the police had to bring me back, right? I'm like, oh my God, we have to get to the top of Mount Koya today. Like, we were supposed to stay at this Buddhist temple on top of a mountain that night. That was like miles and miles outside the city. And you all know how bad that is with directions, right? Like, this was going to be quite a task to get this man to the top of the mountain. But he persevered, and somehow we managed to make it to the top of this Buddhist temple that night. And it was really lovely. It was so different than the amount of overwhelming just intake you have in Japan. It was like very calm and quiet. There were just these beautiful orange wooden Buddhist temples dotting the top of the summit of this mountain. And I remember taking a walk with him, like this silent night, just amongst the temples, and we really got a moment to just be kids again at the top of this mountain and like go through all of our history together through many, many years. And it was really beautiful. And I'll always remember that moment I had with him. He was a great friend, and he really brought everyone together. He's very genuine, and I think everyone here knows that he was the best person to have really deep conversations with, and I'll always miss him. Thank you.
Hi everyone, I'm James Holtunen. I was Matt's good friend from honestly playing chess. Also, Justin, that was an amazing speech. I know that he talked about you. I did share this, but he always I got to meet Justin in a 5th grade birthday party, and I would say, "How's Justin doing?" And then he would say, "Justin's like the smartest friend that I've ever had. He always spoke so highly of you." And along with everyone else here, just want to say that, especially Brian, we talked about you all the time on the phone, and I know this is going to be typical of me. I'm going to be all over the place, but he just always said, "Brian's doing amazing. He has an amazing girlfriend. He's rock climbing. He's doing all this cool stuff." So I just wanted to say that. Your speech meant so much during the funeral. But the first time I met Matt, it was actually at what they call the New York State the New York State Championships, and it was relatively around my birthday, and my parents said I could bring one friend to Red Lobster, and this was like we're in 5th grade, and I got to talk to Matt that morning, and he played Magic cards, and he was like the coolest kid. Like he was so amazing. I remember thinking, having that feeling, I could hang out with him forever. And I don't know if I just was that kind of kid, but I was totally like, kind of in love with Matt. It was really amazing. And I told him I wanted to bring him to Red Lobster's, and he's like, "You have a lot of other friends. You could take them. You just met me." But yeah, sure, I'll come. And so he came to that, and then from there we started a pretty long friendship. And I got to meet his other friends. And thank you all for coming, AC, Matt Brady. And you guys have all really cool nicknames. I don't know all of them, but he would tell me all these amazing stories about you guys every time we were on the phone call together. Lastly, I know I played a lot of chess with Matt, and we had a lot of good times that way, but just to leave a successful story, I was in college, and he picked me up once, and whenever you got a call or got to hang out with Matt, it felt like a holiday or some kind of, maybe like a celebrity, if you will, a meeting with him. And he took me out to actually play poker. He was going to play a heads-up game against this guy named Larry, and I didn't know what the heck that meant, but I was like, okay, yeah, sure. He took me there, and I was at SUNY Geneseo at the time, and he beat Larry, and he won, I think it was a grand, but back then, I mean, even today, but I was like, holy moly, you won $1,000 playing like a game? Like in chess, you just don't do that too often. And I was like equated that, I remember my mind to like how many dates you could bring girls on and all that kind of jazz. I was like, this is the right thing to do. Matt, you're so good at this. This is so cool. You should do this. And he's like, yeah, I'm like a grandmaster at poker already. And my mind, like my mouth just dropped. So he was so talented and extremely driven. And it's an honor to know Matt, and it's amazing to see. Thank you everybody for coming here and just sharing the love about him. And I hope that we can all continue telling stories about him, because as anyone knew him, he always made you feel special, and at the same time he was so humble, and you want to hear about how everyone else is doing. So, but yeah, thank you guys so much for being here, and thanks for letting me share it.
See how this works. Hello, everyone. My name is Jim Atea, and a member of the Rochester Chess Center. I moved my entire life. My father was in the service, World War II, Korean War. And I was in the military as well. I went to West Point, graduated, and traveled quite a bit. But eventually, I came to Rochester, New York. And I remember it was 1984. And the idea of going to a formal chess club was something very special. Unlike so many people, certainly Matt and James and others, who had the opportunity really to be in Rochester and to be able to learn kind of about chess and the game and strategy and all the rest at a very young age is really just a huge plus, just a remarkable gift. And, you know, over time, I eventually moved away. I moved to Michigan for 20 years, but I came back to Rochester in 2007. And of course, to me, the fact that I could come back to the Rochester Chess Center and Rochester Chess Club, that was like everything, you know. You know, it's 2007. Well, when I came back, it was probably 40 years age difference between myself and Matt. And it was really there that I first got to see Matt and to just marvel at, you know, the way that he could play chess even at that age. You know, just, you know, wunderkind, you know, a prodigy. They're the kinds of words that I would think in terms of this young chess player. And you know, I really find you know, the Rochester Chess Center to be much more than just about the pieces and the movement of the pieces and, you know, tactics or puzzles or anything like. It's really about community, just a very, very special community where people can be themselves. They can learn from each other. They can demonstrate sportsmanship and a lifelong learning in a very kind of non-judgmental, special place. And, you know, I certainly speak for others from the chess community that knew Matt and knew of Matt. And he'll always be in my heart. And I'm just very, very happy to be here. Again, for Neil and Diane and Brian and Evan and everyone that was touched by Matt, I just view Matt as a very, very special person, humble, certainly focused, and very, very kind. So thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Afternoon, everyone. My name is Dan Jensen. I've known Matt literally his entire life. Now, Diane, help me with the numbers on this. You guys lived at 30 County Clare, right? Well, we were 31. Lattimore's, what number were y'all? There were 33. Now, this enclave of houses at the top of the hill in County Clare was the start of a lifelong friendships, right? Now, first, I guess I want to say two things. The first, before sharing a memory of Matt, one of my favorites, I have to say that when I got here today and opened the front door of the country club here, just there was an explosion of laughter coming out the front door. Anybody else notice this when you came in? It was loud in here and joyful when I came in. And I want to I want to congratulate the Parry and the Sinkowitz families for being the kind of people who would laugh at something like this. I want to, please, let's give a hand to the families for laughing. I don't really know how you do that, but I was talking to my fiance, Katie, before coming out here, and Katie was telling a story of her and her parents who were at a funeral and then a luncheon afterwards, and they got in trouble for laughing. They were having too much fun. And you guys are the type that would have fun, even in a situation like this, and I want to congratulate you guys for that. A lot of my memories of Matt, because we go back so far, are sort of the kind the sort of silliness that only really makes sense to kids. But try this one. Go to this spot with me. So it's somebody's birthday, right? Here we are at your guys' house on Coney Clare, right? It might have been Matt's birthday, it might have been Brian's, and there's cupcakes, right? And all of the kids, this is back in the day when it was a kids' table, right? And it was that blue, is it Fisher Price, the kids' table? Anybody still have one of these? This is the blue kids' table? My parents have it now, right? And there's cupcakes, and all of us are around the table, with cupcakes, and Matt has got a cupcake, probably a bright blue frosting or something, bright red frosting. And the cupcake is way too big for the size of Matt's face. So he's going to go for it anyway. So my sister already knows where I'm going with this. So Julian, Brian, and I, are watching Matt try to eat this cupcake. And every time he tries to put this thing up to his face, he just comes away with a nose and a chin and a face full of blue frosting. But he's tried for it. I don't know how old he must have been, right? And every time we see him go for it, Julie and Brian and I looked at each other and said, "Here we go again." And Matt was, I think, thrilled to have the attention of some of the older kids, and he started laughing. He thought this was the greatest thing. He was cracking us up, and we're cracking him up, to the point that he would, every time he went for a bite of cupcake, he would go, "Here's we goes again." And he would put this thing up to his face and try for it again. So to this day, if anybody says to my sister and I, "Here's we goes again," we all know what that means. So that's my memory of Matt. Thank you guys very much.
Hello, my name is Lou. I was fortunate enough to know Matt in his poker era, so I have known Matt for about a decade. We played some chess, and then we moved to Magic the Gathering, and finally poker. Hearing all these amazing stories just instills how special his mind works. His mind works completely different than a normal person. So let me explain what I mean. So when you first start playing poker, you would play small stakes, 1 to 50 cents a dollar. The first time he ever played Pot Limit in Omaha, he decided to jump in the biggest game possible. He didn't even know how to play this game. So he would play 25, 50 versus like the best players in the world and get absolutely destroyed. And then he would win everything back the next day in no limit. And then he would play Pot Limit Omaha again and get destroyed. So his learning curve is astronomical. It's just straight up. For a normal person, we slowly progress. We learn how to play by losing a little and winning a little, but he just goes, he just dives in the deep end. With that ability, he has become one of the best Pot Limit Omaha player in the world. I remember a couple summers ago, I was staying with him in Vegas, and he was playing online with Jake Schindler. He's like one of the top pros, and he was beating him heads up. He was also playing with Ali, and his learning curve is insane. So I just want to say, like, I was super fortunate to be able to know Matt in the poker world. He's probably the best player I've ever played against, and I've personally known. I remember trips. So when he was in UB, I would drive up to Buffalo, meet him and his roommate Bryce, and then we would drive to Toronto to play in some high stakes games in Toronto at like the Four Seasons Penthouse, and we would play all night, and we would play like rich business men at like huge stakes. Like these are the fondest memories that I've had with Matt, and probably the fondest moments that I've had in my poker career. And also in Vegas, we would always room together. Like I would rent an Airbnb for like 2 months, and Matt would stay with me. So in the poker world, competition is really fierce, and he's not only is he one of the best poker players, but I really consider him to be one of my best friends because of his kindness, because of his good heart, and because of his ability to befriend everyone, even though it's such a competitive atmosphere. So yeah, that's my story of Matt and his poker experience.
Okay, I'm not sure if anyone else did want to say anything. And we're not sure how long people are going to stay. We want everybody to continue to eat, drink, mingle, what have you. But just in case anyone was going to be leaving early, we want to make sure you're all here for a special song that is very applicable to Matt's life. And my friend Joel is going to lead the song, but we want everybody, if you can, join in, sing along. Hopefully you'll know the words when it starts, but please feel free. We don't want it to be a solo. He's good, but we don't want it to be a solo.
This is the audience participation part, and you're not allowed to leave. Lock the door. Oh, Joel, we don't want to participate. If we had that attitude when the Germans invaded Pearl Harbor, where would we be now? That's what I have to say. So, in honor of Matt, I'm going to do a song. The song has a chorus. The chorus will come once in the middle, twice in the end. And let's see if we can sing it loud enough and strong enough. Maybe Matt will break away from his card game, or his chess match, or his conversation with the big guy, because we know where he is. He's up there. So if we sing well enough, we might channel and get through to him. So I'll start, and you guys chorus only. I don't need you on the other parts. On a warm summer's evening, on a train bound for nowhere, I met up with the gambler. We were both too tired to speak, so we took turns of staring at the window at the darkness, till the boredom overtook him, and he began to speak, and he said, "Son, I'm made of life out of reading people's faces, knowing what the cards were by the way they held their eyes. So if you don't mind me saying, I can see you're out of aces. For a taste of your whiskey, I'll give you some advice." So I handed him my bottle, and he drank down my last swallow. Then he bummed a cigarette and asked me for a light, and the night got deathly quiet, and his face lost all expression. Said, if you want to play the game, boy, you got to know to play it right. You got to know when to hold 'em, know when to fold 'em, know when to walk away, know when to run. You never count your money. When you're sitting at the table, there'll be time enough for counting. When your dealing's done, pitiful, pitiful. It'll come around again, and we'll do it. Every gambler knows that the secret to surviving is knowing what to throw away and knowing what to keep. 'Cause every hand's a winner, and every hand's a loser, and the best that you can hope for is to die in your sleep. And when he finished talking, he looked out towards the window, crushed out his cigarette, and faded off to sleep. And somewhere in the darkness, our Matty, he broke even, and in his final words, I found an ace that I could keep 2 times now. You got to know when to hold 'em, know when to fold 'em, know when to walk away, know when to run. You never count your money. When you're sitting at the table, there'll be time enough for counting. When the dealing's done, last time you got to know when to hold 'em, know when to fold 'em, know when to walk away, know when to run. You never count your money. When you're sitting at the table, there'll be time enough for counting. When the dealing's done.
Thank you so much for that, Joel. I was feeling out of sorts. I feel much better now. My name's Jody. I'm the nephew, the cousin from California, Neil's sister Linda's son. And I basically grew up with Matt, but just in kind of intervals. I'd go years without seeing him, so I got to see him progress. So I have all these wonderful memories of him in San Diego, with Grandma Joan and Grandpa Yayo, eating tons of seafood, as we've already stated, playing in the swimming pool, having all those awkward moments that kids have. I just turned 44. I'm about 11 years older than Matt. So there's plenty of times when I was in the same space as him and we didn't really say much to each other. As we got older, and I'm loving all these stories. I hope more come. They're filling in all these areas of his life that I never got to experience. And if you have any kind of little mundane story, someone like me really wants to hear it. But I was sitting there, and I think, what could I possibly say? What story could I possibly tell? And everybody is kind of covering the same kind of ground, but it's painting a beautiful picture of a very, humility comes to mind. Matt never teased, made fun, piled on, bragged. He's so consistent. Thought he didn't like me for a while because he just never said anything to me. And as I got older, I became more emboldened. When I would see him in family vacations, I basically poke the bear. He'd be sitting poolside with his book in the shade, waking up hours after everyone else had already been up and having a good time. And I would engage with him, and he did not turn me away. He opened right up, and it was lovely. And I realized, he's not introverted. He just doesn't give it away. But he will not turn you away if you come to him. And I followed that up every time that I saw him thereafter. A lot of you guys have more in-depth stories, Gentleman saying that lived with him for months on end. All these great stories of growing up. I had to strike while I could. I had to be strategic with it. Yeah, he's right here, looking at it. So I could probably say more, but that's really what I wanted to say. Was he was a he's distracting me. All right. But there's nothing I can say that you guys don't know. He was just so lovely. Just so lovely. His family welcomed me. I mean, you're like, hey, you're already part of the family. Of course they did. But, I never really felt like the estranged nephew or cousin. I secretly kind of felt like another sibling. All right, I'll tell an inappropriate story. Yeah, right. So I already told you I'm basically becoming an old man, and one of our family vacations in Cabo, the younger folks kind of peeled off, and we kind of extended into the night. I believe I was 29 or 30, so you guys can do the math how old Matt was. And the conversation started to get a little vulgar, a little inappropriate, and I was almost reveling in the fact of my my history with the ladies, so to speak. And that was never anything that we talked about, And I think everyone who has spent time with Matt, would describe him as, kind of reserved and, really, really stoic in a way, if that's the appropriate word. And this doesn't really make a good story. It's more of this great moment and this great feeling. I asked him inappropriate questions about his experiences, and he got embarrassed, and he flushed, and he was out of sorts. And I couldn't stop laughing because I had never seen him like that. I don't think I'd ever seen him like that since. It was a moment curated by being baked in the sun all day and being up too late and in a hot tub. His guard was down. He kind of walked into it. I led him down the primrose path. And I always have that memory of him being flustered, of him being crimson-cheeked. Never brought it up again, never embarrassed. It was a great moment. And he never held that against me. He never gave me a hard time about it. So in a way, it was just one of many beautiful, intimate, unguarded moments. And it just kind of rose to the surface now because all the other times where he was intimate and genuine and totally open, it went other places. So please, I want to hear some more stories. If you have anything, there's a little kernel, somebody like me wants to hear it. And you don't have to look out at all you wonderful people. You can look right down in Matt's face and tell it right to him. So that's all I gotta say. Thank you.
Hi everybody. My name is Hayden. I first met Matt. Like Matt's poker career, there are going to be some highs and lows to this for sure for me. I met Matt at the chess center. I must have been 5, 6, and he was already the best. It didn't take long to know who was the best, and I looked up to him from the moment that I knew what that phrase meant. And we played chess, and I don't think I ever beat him. I don't think I ever came close. But we lost touch after chess. I thought it wasn't cool. It was the coolest thing ever, for sure. And it prepared me for poker. And man, just still can't believe it. But so I met Matt again in poker, and when I met him, I was good. But again, I met Matt and I saw an unbelievable talent. None of the likes of which I've never seen again. I've played with some incredible players, but there's something about Matt and how he played. One of my favorite poker stories of Matt, excuse me, one of my favorite poker stories of Matt, we were at Turning Stone Casino, and we were both young in our careers, but Matt was so ambitious that he put what he said was 90 to 95% of his bankroll in a single game. And you don't need to know much about poker to know that that's just not smart. That's just not smart. And no, you don't make a successful career out of that, unless you're Matt. It's just unbelievable. And in that game, I watched in awe because it was the biggest game that they had had there in a long time. I wanted to be in it, but I couldn't bring myself to try something like that. He had a confidence in himself that it was awe-inspiring. I mean, there's just no other way. There's just no other way to put it. And he was blessed in that game. And if you don't know anything about poker, it's something called a cooler, where you have a great hand, someone else has a hand that is either slightly better or slightly worse than you. And it doesn't matter if the cards are reversed, that hand is going to play out a certain way. And he was fortunate. He made 4 of a kind versus someone else's top full house, which means like the number one best hand possible and the number 2 in that hand. And he doubled up. And I just remember thinking, oh my God, how? And it worked out for him. And it was just amazing to see him in poker. That wouldn't be the last time that I'd see him do something absolutely incredible. One other quick poker story. Last year, he was playing the main event, and I wasn't able to go. And I texted him and I said, any chance I can buy a piece, which means, invest a little bit in his tournament. And typically when you buy action from people in poker, they charge you a fee. They charge you, if you want to buy at 5%, they might make you pay 30% extra to have that privilege. And he refused to charge me what's called markup. And I insisted, I was like, man, you can't do that. That's just so crazy. He was like, no, it's fine. Like, I just thank you, or just, he said something silly like, why are you thanking me, or whatever. And he didn't cash in that event, but he won his bracelet in the very next tournament he played. And I just remember him like, God damn it, what did I do wrong to not have it? To not have the action in that tournament, like why did I not ask or whatever. It's like, but the joy for him, he deserved it more than anybody, to see the ups and downs he's had from, doubling up 90% of your bankroll to like going broke and back and just things that would have broken most people dozens of times. And he never lost the confidence in himself. And some other poker story maybe. He always thought that I was better than I was because I did so well against him. And whatever the reason was, maybe I knew him a little better than other people or something. It's probably just luck. but he would always, you know, want to talk poker with me, and just like he was always so open with everybody, and it's like I didn't feel like I deserved to be given that wisdom in poker, because you know most people are closed in poker. They don't want to tell you anything about a mistake you made or how they would play a hand. But not Matt, you know, he is just a different breed, and I'll just never forget, you know, that warmth, you know. In a sea of coldness in poker, he'll always be a light, you know. I'll never forget that. So, thanks for listening.
Hey everyone, my name is Aaron, often better known as AC. Matt was my first friend I ever had. Vacation Bible School, I was 5 years old. My mom was the teacher at the time, and Matt and I used to say we had to go to the bathroom so that we could just go and chat. And strange way to start a relationship, but shortly after, Neil and Diane invited us over, or invited myself over to hang out, and it was kind of solidified as like my first, real friendship. And from there, Matt had, met a lot of people from different walks of life. He became really good friends with Justin, chess friends, etc. And he created this little group that he would call the club, which was basically like all of these different folks from different walks of life. And basically we would just play games. We would compete in games, and then he would have this giant prize of like a little shoebox full of a bunch of candy. So he was already bringing all of these different people together, as we can see here, from very different walks of life. And I love that, and I made some of my closest friends, from Matt to some degree, like with Justin and many other folks. And I guess going on with like the just kind of passion for games and competition, I started playing chess with Matt. I quickly got discouraged by how bad he beat me every time. But that developed into us starting a new game. So me and Matt would play countless hours of like heads-up poker. We would watch VHS tapes of old Simpsons episodes while just playing like 8 hours straight of poker. And I think that we share something in common, just as far as when we get into something, we get really into it. And especially when that like entails like games and competitions. And you can see how successful Matt was both in that and also developing so many relationships as he has. I guess to close to some degree, I was speaking with a good friend of mine that I lived in Boston with for quite a while, and talking about Matt, and he had specifically mentioned just how Matt would talk to him about how proud he was of the people around him. So whether that's close friends, his family, he really did have such a solid group of people around him, and I see that group here amongst all of you. So I thank you very much, and despite the circumstances, it really is great to spend time and be with all of you. So thank you.